I'd like to give a warm welcome to all of you for joining, and a big thank you for joining Links 2023. This is amazing. So almost a decade ago, when Jonathan and I founded Chainalysis, we were discussing crypto, what is crypto about, what is a blockchain about, and we were thinking that this is going to transform the world of finance. So who are the most interesting people to work with around the globe when you are transforming the world of finance? And we're all talking about the most important stakeholders in the world around finance are the public sector. It's all the regulators, it's government agencies, it's those do enforcement, it's the big banks, and it's all the innovators. And in this room today, it's all of you. So a warm welcome to all of you, because Links is all about getting that crowd to meet. And the purpose of Links is to have all of you meet. So let's jump into the beginning of Links here. But the way we do this is a little throwback. You normally say it's Throwback Thursday, but today it's Throwback Tuesday. So last year's message around like the state of crypto and so on was this one. I was boldly saying, well, crypto and tech stocks today, they are very intertwined. They're basically moving along the same curve. And when you look at it now, well, this is what it was. And most of you would now be like, that probably didn't age well, did it? Let's see. So what actually happened is that it did age pretty well. So this is the correlation. We added Ethereum this time into the mix as well. It's been growing up, so it's fair to do that. So Ethereum is there as well, but we can see that they're basically following the same curve. They're very much tied to the macro environment. And I think that's an important point, because we've always been talking in crypto around these cycles of crypto, and we talked about winters and summers and all of that. But at the end of the day, we might be in a macro winter, but if you look at it compared to what actually happens in the crypto space today, this is what it looks like. It's very intertwined with tech stock. That being said, there were events happening over the last year that did cause some correction, but they were all temporary. So we saw some hacks that didn't have a lot of impact in the crypto space. Then we saw Terra Luna and that collapse. We saw Celsius and Three Arrows. And in those events, we actually did see corrections of the price of the underlying assets of the crypto economy. And they were not impacted into the tech stocks. Then you move forward, FTX bankruptcy, of course, also a correction there. But then every time that happened, we actually saw that they slowly converged again. And then we included the final event that's very, very recent around Silvergate, SVB signature, and so on. And that actually caused crypto to rise in price and gain some of its, I would say, early promises of being the alternative to banks, maybe. That was one of the things that happened there. So clearly we see a very strong correlation. So one of the things that I always said that when it's a winter time, it's a time to build. And I'm saying this is a macro winter, but still, it's clearly what we are seeing today. It's time to build things. And are we actually doing that? So we ran these numbers, and we actually do that basically every day. But I put them on a slide this time around. And then you look at some of the key indicators for the health of the crypto space, what's going on. Is it growing? One thing is to look at the price, and it's kind of nice to see that that's tied closely to the macro and other things, but what's actually going on? One of the best indicators is probably the number of active wallets in the crypto space, and that's grown 400% over the last 3 years. So there's been a lot of growth, and if you look at the curve, doesn't look like it's slowing down. So there's actually a good adoption of people that's using crypto every day, every week, every month. So that's growing. Then you would say the value of cryptocurrencies has clearly come down with the price of tech stocks and so on. And when you look at the economical value transferred, that stayed roughly flat. So it means that we clearly see a lot of activity and financial activity in the crypto space despite the declining price. So clearly a flat line there is actually a good sign, because we did know that the price went down. Some of the driver of that is, of course, the blockchains that we have today and the number of them. There's more. They're able to process, both in layer 1 and layer 2, far more transactions. And the number of transactions have been growing, and right now is like roughly flat, but not really declining. So we definitely see that there's a lot of activity going on the blockchain still, and that's there. Another important driver that we have around the crypto space today, and I'm usually saying when I get asked, what is the biggest success of crypto today? And I actually say that's stablecoins. Stablecoins have come out of basically nowhere, and over a few years have grown into $150 billion market cap. And in crypto, market cap can be sometimes inflated and seen as like you buy more and it goes up in price, just like shares. But this is actually real dollars that went into the economy, into the stablecoin economy, and that's growing as well. And clearly something that we see probably will grow going forward and get likely more institutional interest. So stablecoin has grown and become an even more important cornerstone in the world of crypto. So yes, we are building. It is actually working during the winter here. So why is all this happening? Again, roughly 10 years ago, when I, a little bit more than that, when I first time looked at crypto, I found Bitcoin. I went through the source code. I got deep into everything there. And the thing that really excited me around the blockchain were this paradigm shift in computing. So we went from like digital, anything digital you could copy, you could show it, move it around. And that's what we've been used to in the digital world all the time. But with the innovation of the blockchain, you suddenly had invented a digital object that you could only move but not copy. And that's the fundamental building block on a blockchain. It stays basically the fact that it supports digital scarcity. And that never existed before. Like if you go further back than 10 years, it didn't exist. It was not a concept. Now it's there. And when I saw that, I said to myself, this is the perfect representation of value. Because now you have something inherently supporting the same principles as value, i.e. that you cannot copy it, but only move it. And that means it's only a matter of time before everything of value will move on a blockchain. Don't know how, I don't know when, but in the course of time, this will happen. And I want to be part of that journey. So the reason why we believe in Chainalysis that everything of value moves on a blockchain is basically because that's where digital scarcity lives, and that's how you represent the value. So very much like the internet, the innovation of the World Wide Web with all of that, that was basically the perfect representation of information. And as we see, like decades later, now we are there on the internet, and we clearly see that everything of information lives in one location, and that's the internet. The same will happen for value. So where are we on that journey, and what does that look like? I think one of the interesting parallels is when we looked at music and the internet. A lot of information moved on the internet in the early days. A lot of things could get to the internet in the early days. And some information was like the easy information to put there. But then there was information like music that actually had copyright rules around it, and a lot of like red tape around how you could move it, how you could sell it, how you could do other things. And it actually took a generation, almost a generation, from Napster to Spotify. So it took a generation to put music on the internet. And if any of you think that it's slow in crypto, it's not. It's actually moving really fast, because the things we are trying to put on the blockchain of value are far more complicated and have far more regulatory frameworks built around them and more regulatory hurdles. And those are the ones we are in the middle of solving. The way we are solving it is like on the public blockchain side, we see the native cryptocurrencies. That's a no-brainer. They're there inherently and easy to put there. DeFi created new ways of doing transaction between different currencies and tokens. They are, of course, natively there as well. We've seen digital art already in the digital space and possible to live there. We've seen stable coins as being probably the thing on the public blockchains that's furthest to the private side, furthest regulated, but still able to exist on a public ledger. Then at the same time, there's a lot of innovation going on within banks and within other financial institutions looking at other ways how we can use the blockchain. It's all about the same. It's about putting value on the blockchain And the challenges and why we call it private is basically because there's so many rules around it, so we need to ensure that we know exactly who owns it and what and when, and there are so many rules there, so it does make sense to keep it private. I do think, though, that over the course of the next decade, maybe even the next year, we will start to see these two worlds merge, and there will be a connection between the public blockchain and the private blockchains, and we will see how that's playing out. So clearly excited about the journey that we're on moving value on the blockchain. So we can't do this alone, and in Chainalysis, we're always proud of the great network of customers and of partners. I'd like to give a huge shout out to everyone that's been a sponsor of Links. It's Deloitte, it's AWS, it's Intel, and it's all of the rest that you see on the slide here. So we definitely see a lot of great partners supporting our conference today. So when you go out in the hallways today, visit their booth, talk to everyone there, not just the Chainalysis people, but everyone else, because they are a core part of the same mission of moving value to the blockchain and building trust in the blockchain. Also, I usually say that the most important part of a conference happens out there in the hallways when you talk to each other. I'm trying to compete on that today by having amazing speakers on the stage as well. But remember that a lot of the things happens also when you meet each other and talk on the hallways out there. So share that. We have a handle for that, Links 23. And I've also wanted, lastly, to give a huge shout out to everyone who's listening in online and see the conference that way. Warm welcome to you as well. You can't be here to talk to everyone in the room, but please share and give you a shout out to what's happening in the room today. And with those words, I'll just want to wish you all a great conference and thank you for joining.